So first of all, thank you for the interview. It's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for giving me the chance to speak to you and answer some of my questions and some of the community questions too. So first,
Okay.
you are mostly known for two things, like one being the Razor Kennel founder, and the second one is being the ABKC founder main figure. So I have a few questions about your Razor's Edge Kennel because you are not the most showing person in a way that we don't really see your dogs out there or on the internet that much. So you kind of keep
Right.
your breeding private. So is it something you do on purpose?
Well, the situation with the Razor's Edge is when I started Razor's Edge was in 1990. So my time with Razor's Edge, where I was really active as a breeder and a competitor, was in the late 90s and the early 2000s. When we came up with the American Bully in early 2000 and we transitioned into that breed, at that time I was still a big breeder and I was reintroducing Razor's Edge as the American Bully breed. But once the American Bully breed grew, I had to get more involved in the registration side of it because we didn't have a registry that existed for the American Bully. That's why we created the ABKC. And that's why I, at that point, wrote the standards for the breed and brought in all the brood stock for the breed. So when then my time came to work for the American Bully breed as ABKC, Razor's Edge kind of had to take a back seat. I didn't have the time to be a competitive breeder at that point because I had to work for the American Bully breed. In recent years, I still have some dogs and I'm still doing things, and I created a brand new facility for Razor's Edge. It's just I'm so busy with the American Bully breed that Razor's Edge is secondary. I mean, it's had its time. It was a big thing in the late 90s, early 2000s, but I'll come back out with some more dogs. I've always had access to dogs, but you know, it's a passion, but I'm not doing it as a business. I'm not trying to recreate anything. So Razor's Edge will just be something that's very selective for people that are interested in my vision of things.
Talking about your vision, you went from Cairo to Demon Boy and now Demonio. So what can we expect in the future from you as a breeder?
Well, for me, Demon Boy is pretty much what I like in the American Bully. So you're gonna see a lot of that same look as you see in Demon Boy, maybe variation of colors, maybe tweaking a few things here and there, but more or less that's the style of dog that I aim to produce. And you'll just see variations of dogs that are in that same kind of category.
Great. So let's talk a bit more about the ABKC. So you are one of the main figure of the ABKC. So lately we can see that you are traveling a lot to different shows. You are in Mexico or New Mexico, I forgot. Today you are in the Netherlands for the 4-show weekend. So how do you feel about the show? To me it looks like people are coming back more and more to the show, especially after the COVID pandemic. And how do you see it, especially here in Europe? What do you think of the dogs here, the community here?
Well, again, like you said, I mean, I used to go to shows a lot, and then everything grew to the point that it's way beyond me being able to attend everything. COVID kind of shut everything down. Everybody was a little slow coming back because obviously just the fear of, you know, things. But I'm now starting to go to shows more often. The shows, number one, in America, the ABKC shows have really been exciting. They're growing. And you know, a million things going on in this world, but the ABKC should grow in Holland and UK and in Europe. This is really my first time really being back over here. I mean, to me, I think the quality of dogs is still here. The excitement is still here. The one thing I really love about Europe is they always really understood what the breed was supposed to have as far as things like substance and the way the type of the dog. Europe has always pretty much been on top of understanding the breed type. So it's always exciting to come back here. So Europe is, in my opinion, one of the places that's been a pioneer in this breed for a long time.
So there is something I would like to talk a little bit about, is the fact that also during the COVID pandemic, like there was a lot of dogs that were bred, and the amount of registration at the ABKC went up, and sometimes dogs that were bred were not always quality dogs. So, so something I would like to know is the ABKC is working in private to regulate that aspect, for example?
Well, what I say is during the COVID pandemic, anything at home took off. At home jobs took off. The pet industry took off. The dog industry as a whole, not just American Bully and ABKC, as a whole, it became a big thing. The dog industry exploded during this pandemic, and from various reasons. However, by the dog business exploding and all dog breeds, obviously ABKC and the American Bully was going to as well. It's a temporary thing. We saw an influx in registrations, probably 3 times the amount, and now it's going back down again. It was a temporary burst in business as far as dogs were, and a lot of things pet related. So I don't think necessarily that we have to do something to limit, because it's already happening on its own. It was a temporary thing, so we're now getting back to a normal flow. As far as the quality of dogs and things is that, number one, we're a registration company, so when you're doing registration, you're basically looking at the purity of the dogs, the pedigrees and the purity, not necessarily the quality. Where the quality comes to effect is in the ring. This is why people need to attend ABKC shows, because in the ring is where you're getting a judge evaluation and you're seeing the better representations of the breed. And that's really where the quality control comes in. It comes into play in the ring. So the best thing that we can do is put out public education, which we do. We do sketches, we'll be doing videos, we'll be doing seminars, we're doing as much as we can to help the public understand what a correct quality dog is. But again, it's also up to the public too. You need to attend the events, and you need to go to these ABKC show events to really see what the quality is and where we lie on that. And that falls under the judge's evaluation, and that falls in the ring.
What I'm gonna ask is maybe a little bit extreme, but when I'm looking at other breed, like recognized by the FCI, for example, there are some conformation exam or temperament exam in order to limit the ability of some dogs to be bred or registered. So I would like to ask if it is something the ABKC will be working on in the future.
Well, here's the thing with ABKC and the American Bully. It's still a very young breed. We haven't grown, we haven't even been around 20 years, so it's still a very, very young breed. And we're still in the education process of the breed. When you get into the restriction process of a breed, the breed needs to be around longer. You need to let the breed get to its quality, and then you start to restrict different aspects of the breed. I mean, we already have temperament tests and things like that, and we already have titles of different things that we award on pedigrees. DNA is another thing that we do. We make champions, dogs that have had 3 or more litters. We make them DNA profile their dogs. We're still in early phases of testing. So a lot of breeds have been around a long time to where the genetic tests are there to show what bad traits they have and things in their line. Whereas the American Bully breed is so young that we're still giving the data. We're still learning the data on the dogs. We're still entering dogs into a lot of these programs where they're doing genetic testing. So we're still a little bit premature in how much we can possibly do, because in essence the breed is still a very young breed. So again, before you get into the heavy restriction, the breed has to establish itself first, and we're still in the establishing phase. We're still in a phase of trying to get breeders and the dogs to understand what the correct version of the dogs are according to the standards. So again, we're still a little premature for how much we can do. Obviously, yes, in the future we're going to get stricter and stricter, and we'll implement more and more. But at the moment, I think we're still in the phase of the education and teaching breeders what the proper American Bully is. But in the future, the data will be there, and we will be able to do more genetic testing, and we'll be able to learn more about the issues within the breed. And at that point, then we will start to add more restrictions and a different type of criteria for breeding.
And you just talk about the health of dogs. So a good trend that I'm seeing right now more and more is people having their dog tested. So do you think the American breed that we have right now are more healthy than the one that were there 20 years ago, for example?
Well, it's very difficult to say whether it's more healthy or not. As I said, the data's not there yet. People are testing their dogs more and more, which is great. We are realizing things in the breed as far as heart issues and hip issues, and people are now getting cardiac tests, they're getting dysplasia tests. So people are getting more educated on those things. As far as the difference, if it's more healthy now or more healthy then, it's very difficult because the dogs of the older generation weren't a completed version of what we have today. And you're dealing with a broader spectrum of dogs. So it's hard to say whether it's healthier, because when you have a broader spectrum, obviously you have more different types of dogs, out there. So you can't really say if it was healthier or not healthier. That's something we determine once the breed really gets established. And I still think we're a good 10 years away from really getting an established breed. A big thing, in my opinion, is I really think people need to understand that the American Bully and the ABKC were created together simultaneously. When we created the American Bully, we created the ABKC to validate the breed. We created it to host the stud books of the breed, the brood stock of the breed. And we really need people to help support ABKC at the moment because we aren't completed yet. And a lot of the things that we would like to do and learn about the breed, we still have a few more years going. So I know people like to do other things and go in other directions, but in a breed so young, it is very important for its stability to stick to the original to help get this breed to where it needs to go.
And to stay on that subject, can we expect the ABKC to join some program like the OFA program?
Oh, we already are. Oh yeah, if you get your dog, we do OFA and pin hip. So, and we put that on your pedigree. So if you are certified, OFA certified, or you have a good pin hip score, we add that to your pedigree already. So we already do that.
What I mean is to make it
a mandation?
A requirement for anyone that wants to breed. If I look at any other breed, most of the breeders are only reproducing healthy specimens, for example. Only dogs with good hips are being bred, and everything with heavy hips dysplasia, for example, is not. Is it something we can expect in the future from the ABKC?
Yeah, as I stated earlier, in the future we plan to do more restrictive measures on the breed. But if you look at most registries, including FCI, AKC, a lot of them don't mandate that for breeding, but a lot of breeders are getting better and are savvy and learning that you want to breed dogs that do not carry certain genetic disorders to other dogs, and you want to try to eliminate those things. So a lot of that falls on the breeder in every registry. But as far as us getting to where we're mandating those things, again, right now we're still at the learning phase, we're still the teaching phase, and we're teaching people about these things now. We're teaching people that you should be doing this, and this is what you should be looking for. Once we get to where we feel we're established and we can actually identify genetic traits in the breed and genetic disorders and things like that, then we will get more restrictive, because then we can actually say, we know that in our breed, these are some of the issues we have, and in order for us to preserve the breed, protect the breed and continue on, we need to mandate whatever the regulations will be to ensure that we're not passing those traits on.
As you said, the decision is mostly on the breeder to decide if they will do it or not. Is the ABKC is working on a convention or something else to educate the breeder?
We actually have conventions. We actually do seminars. The biggest thing in that situation, we feel, is to educate the public and teach the public that when you're buying a dog, this is what you should be looking for. You should, number one, receive a contract, because without a contract, there's no guarantee of anything. That's how you guarantee your dog's paperwork and everything else. And in the contract, if you're looking for dogs, in my opinion, at the moment, you should be looking for dogs that at least are cardiac tested, at least are OFA tested for dysplasia, whether it's hip or elbow. These are things that you will see in heavier bred dogs, and you should be looking for this from breeders. So at the moment, we're again in the educational phase of where we're teaching customers that these are things that you need to request from your breeders. Again, once I said, once we're more established, then we can step in and start to mandate more. But at the moment, a lot of that falls on the breeders and the consumers, and I think it's our job to educate both.
And how long do you think it will take to have everybody more educated and established on the subject?
Well, if you look at it like this, most dog breeds are created somewhere between 50 and 100 years before they're established. The American Staffordshire Terrier, for instance, stemmed from the American Pit Bull Terrier. No other breeds were mixed in, and it took them 70 years to establish the American Staffordshire Terrier from only one breed of dog. We're a little more diverse in our pedigree. We're not even 20 years. We're 17, 18 years into the American Bully right now. So if you're talking about establishment, you can project something that's going to be a 50 years to be an average. This community moves fast. So I'm thinking that, within the next 10 to 15 years, we should be at a different phase with this breed of purity and establishment. And hopefully at those points, we'll definitely start to mandate more and more. And I anticipate doing that prior to that.
Just earlier you said people need to focus and not go in every direction. So lately there are a lot of registries that are coming up. People are using them to advertise their dogs sometimes, as you do our Grand Champion, for example. What do you think of those new registries, knowing that most of the time they come from someone that had some type of success in the ABKC? And what are your thoughts on those new registries, and is the ABKC planning on working with them in the future?
So here's my feeling. I understand the people's want to get out and do things for their dog, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I understand that people want to do as much as they can possibly do. I understand that. Again, we're talking about a breed that's not fully established. And us, ABKC being the original, who created the breed name, standard, and all that, we're still at a phase that I feel if we still allow this breed to start to go in different directions, we're actually destroying the breed. We're harming the breed, because when you take a breed that isn't fully established and then you allow it to go in all these different directions with different interpretations, different representations, what you're doing at that point is hurting the stability of the breed, and you're keeping the breed from being able to establish some type of unique identity. And I disagree with the new registries at the moment, and every one of them is somebody that started up in ABKC that for whatever reason, and to me it's just pulling the breed in too many different directions too soon. It's separating communities. It's affecting the breed with just different representations and different ideals of the breed. And I think that people at the moment's a fad. It's turned into something that all of a sudden everybody wants to have a registry for whatever reason, but they're not really doing what we are. We're looking at the future of the breed, the preservation of the breed, protecting the breed. And I really think these things harm new breeds. I don't think it's good for the breed, and it's not anything that's personal to me or anything like that. I just see that that's going to do more harm than good in the long run. And hopefully people will realize at the moment this isn't the thing to do. At the moment, you need to stick with the original breed club and help establish this breed, help get this breed to the next level. And the only way we can do that is together and to try to keep things uniform. So I don't agree with all the different registries at the moment within this breed.
You are talking about establishment of the breed. So the American Bully is not recognized by the FCI. Is it something the ABKC is working on, or not at all? Because here in Europe, for example, the American Bully breed can be misrepresented or confused because of the way it looks, and a lot of people, especially in UK, they can get their dog seized because of that. So is the ABKC working to get the breed FCI approved?
Well, okay, so here's my feeling on like FCI and things like that. When you allow the government to make one entity in charge of everything, then that becomes a problem, because then what happens is you're taking breeds out of the hands of the people that know the breeds. In America, AKC, as far as especially in Europe and UK, understand that when the AKC took over a lot of these breeds in America, they changed the breed to what they wanted. And it went away from what it originally was. And a lot of breeds have been ruined, in my opinion, because of that. Because when you allow the breeds to go outside of the hands that made it and understand it, then it's just like you're just sending something somewhere else for people to don't understand. And a lot of breeds, people don't realize, are ruined just because of that. And if your government is being involved to the point that they're allowing one entity to be the entity that tells everybody what they have to do, what is right, what they can have, what they can't have, then you've put too much control into one hand. So we're not really interested in FCI nor AKC recognizing our breed. You know, we did start as a breed club basically, but we also started as a registry. So we're a little bit unique in that aspect. Most breed clubs start breeds and then they pass off to a registry. And then that's normally when things start to go downhill with a lot of breeds, and real breeders know this. We are kind of a hybrid thing. We're a club and a registry. And we don't really have an interest in that because we're also from a younger generation. And, you know, I'm at the older edge of this generation, but we're at a younger generation and we do things a little bit different. What made the ABKC really fun is the ABKC was really working with people and really accepting of people. When you first walked into an ABKC show, it was an environment that no matter where you were from, what you looked like, what you believed in, the second you walked into the environment, you felt at home. And everybody treated you as an equal because we're all here for one love. And I think that, in my opinion, the dog communities, AKC, FCI, they were void of that. They didn't allow for those things to happen, and I think they isolated themselves from a lot of people and stereotyped a lot of people. A lot of people couldn't be who they were in those things. So I don't really want our breed to go a different direction like that. I don't feel the need for the sanctioning of those entities because I feel like we created a community that was very accepting to everybody, and we're professional. I mean, when you compete here, you're competing at a professional level under trained judges with good awards, everything. The value of the breed is with ABKC as far as the American Bully is. So there's no real need for us to go to that level. And, you know, again, we're a young culture. This is a cultural movement too. This isn't just dog breeds. This is a big deal. I mean, I'm here today in Holland, and when you come around here in Holland, there's people here today from UK, from Asia, from America, from all over Europe. And they're all here together in unity, being themselves and enjoying their dogs. I think this was something that the dog world needed. So I think it's time for something new, and we are that something new. So I don't seek the acceptance of the old entities that used to be here for that. I don't seek that at all, and I don't think our community needs or even wants that, and I don't think it would do our community any justice. I think it would destroy culture, and I think in time it would end up destroying our breed. So we really have no interest in that part of it.
Today is also a special day for the ABKC because it's the first Merle show. So the show, they are run by the host, not the ABKC entity itself. So when doing the first Merle exposition, I would like to know who decided to have the first Merle show, and even if it's not a sanctioned show, just a fun show, how did it came along to have that special event taking place?
Okay, so the Merle in the American Bully was here from the beginning. They just weren't very popular, but they were always here. In 2013 or 14, maybe even 15, there was a big push from their community following the UKC because they stopped allowing Merles for competition, and our community wanted to do the same, and there was a big push in our community at that time to not allow the Merles for competition, feeling health restrictions within the Merle gene. So what we as ABKC did is we stopped for competition, but we did not stop for registration. So Merles has continued to register the entire time, just not compete. In recent years, the community has stepped up, and the Merle part of the community, and something that was once the minority is now becoming the majority, or at least 50-50. It's a divided community, and there's so many breeders out there breeding ABKC registered Merles without health issues. Educated breeders that know what they're doing, that are producing quality Merles. we recently decided that we would allow fun shows at ABKC shows as long as they were for ABKC registered dogs. The host of this show, Edwin, handyman, also has Merles, and he asked of the possibility for a fun show for Merles. And we agreed. We said, you know what, they're ABKC registered. I think it's a time for the community to at least get a look at what the ABKC registered Merles are, to give a better perspective so people can also see from the outside that there are quality dogs and there are breeders that are breeding quality dogs. So we felt it's an allowable fun show at the event, and it's an opportunity for people at least to see. There's a debate going on in the community. It's now, I would say, like I said, 50-50 almost. And I think it's time that at least if we allowed something at this platform where people could actually come and see for themselves, I think that'll help add some clarity to the discretion, or to at least the understanding of what an ABKC registered Merle is. So we allowed it. So it's we're not saying we're going to change. We're not saying we're not going to change. We're just saying these are in your community. They've been registerable. Now you have an opportunity to take a look at them and see what you think. So and people are going to take it both ways. There's some people that are going to love this, some people that are going to be anti this, but at least now they can actually get a look, face to face. They can go out there and see for themselves. So that's pretty much why we allowed it, and we'll see what the future holds.
So Merle is one of those trends that we see. So now maybe because the Merle are kind of accepted, people might ask why not allowing a micro bully or double XL bully, for example. So what are your thoughts on this subject? Is it something that we can that will be coming in the future?
Well, here's the thing. We have three varieties. We have Pocket, Standard, and XL, basically, that are the same type. When you're talking things that aren't the American bully, then no, of course we're not interested in allowing things that are partially bred American bullies, or not a true American bully. Another true breed is a whole different topic. But when you're talking dogs that are in that gray area of they're being called something else or that, no, not that. The Merles we're talking about are American bullies with ABKC papers. As far as the Pocket being shorter, or as far as the XL being taller, we've always said at some point in the future, the varieties should be separated, registered separated. And the only way to do that is going to be over time adding a little more distance between the height regimens, meaning shorter on the Pocket side, taller on the XL side, and then a period of time that those get to establish themselves, and then a period of time finally where you have to breed this to this in order to get this on your paperwork. So the future down the road, like I'll give an example. We have the Schnauzer, for instance. There was the Schnauzer. Then the Schnauzer separated into varieties. Hundreds of years later, now you have miniature Schnauzer, Standard, Giant Schnauzer. You have three separate breeds. It took over 100 years for them to separate that breed three ways. That is the future of the American bully. How long? It's hard to say. I mean, we're still building the American bully. So, like I said, we're 17 years into the American bully. And before we get to where those are three separate breeds as far as how they're registered, that's a long way down the road. But before we decide to separate and allow a little less size on the height for the Pocket and a little more on the XL, that's something probably in the closer near future that we'll be doing. But they'll still be called the same thing. We're not going to have double XL and micro. It's just going to extend the height and push it further back each way.
So you just give a little hint of what we can expect for the different category of the breed to develop into. So what else is the ABKC working on that we can expect in the next few months or maybe years?
Well, you can expect a lot more education. We're going to be doing a lot of things different. We're going to be releasing all types of different videos on different platforms that'll give better visuals of what the American bully and its varieties are. From the ABKC, you're also going to get a better service where we're going to be more mobile friendly with everything we do. So we're working on that on the back end. We're definitely working on trying to expand the American Bully into more countries. Now we're starting to get into a phase where we need to be more political, to where we need to get involved more with international government to help recognize the American Bully breed and establish that the American Bully breed is a different breed than the American Pit Bull Terrier or the American Staffordshire Terrier or the Bulldog. So the future of ABKC is going to be a lot more involvement in those type of things and better services for our clients, as well as better education for the breed. So look out, we're starting to add more and more and implement more and more things every day. So, you know, like I said before, the ABKC is bigger than the American Bully breed. The ABKC is a true culture, and it's truly something that, in my opinion, united the world, united people. Doesn't matter race, religion, region, whatever. It's one thing that we were all accepted as one, and we are all one. So that's my love about the ABKC, is we unite the world in a common bond, and you know, and we have love for everybody. So we're here always for our community, and we will do whatever our community asks of us. So the other thing is, we always want input from our community. It's our job to help you, and it's our job to help the breed. So you know, by all means, it's all love and respect to everybody out there, and we look for your input, and it's your input that keeps us growing. So in the future, I mean, that's what you'll see. You'll start to see more involvement in different ways and more education.
Thank you very much.